Welcome everybody to Pseudo Short number 3 for February 17th, 2017. I'm your podcast host, Josh Kiser, and joining me today, Hougie Haddix.
Welcome to the Wild Wild West.
And Kyle Hoagland.
The hell is that about?
Every time Kiser says welcome to the whatever, I always think of Will Smith when he...
when do you not think of Will Smith?
Welcome to the Wild Wild West, Jim West, Desperado, Rough Rider. No, you don't want nada. I mean, I could keep going. You guys want to make?
You don't need to though. That's what's the great thing about this.
Thankfully, this is a pseudo short, which means we've only got about 20 minutes or so, and we don't need the first 5 minutes taken up with lyrics to a great song for a fantastically terrible movie.
I beg to differ on that, but we can save that for another week.
Yeah, you might have opened The Wrath of Haddix. He loves that movie.
We can save that for a full-length podcast because I'm going to need an hour and a half.
Apparently. Coming up in today's pseudo short, we will be discussing the Kingdom Hearts 2.8 newly released video game. I'm going to review it with these guys. And for a quick reminder, for those of you who don't understand what the pseudo short is, on our off weeks when we're not doing our 90-minute podcast, we're going to get a little mini episodes out there for you, something to keep keep us fresh in your minds at all times.
You're welcome.
And that said, let's just dive right into it. This is Kingdom Hearts 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue, and if the name doesn't confuse you, the game probably will, because that's typically what the Kingdom Hearts series does. And this is... yeah.
I was going to say, I don't know if you were going to delve into it, but real quick, because I have not played any of these. Hougie and I were kind of bullshitting real quick, and you might have been starting to do this, so I apologize. But what games have come out so far for it, leading up to this point?
So that's actually kind of where I was going. So nice setup for that. Basically, the Kingdom Hearts series started out as a standalone title for the PlayStation 2. It did really well. They came up with the Kingdom Hearts 2. It did very well. So then they started making all these little kind of spin-offs and one-shots and stuff like that. And really the story which started out very simplistic has turned into quite the convoluted mess to some degree.
Yeah, because I stopped playing it 2. I did play all of 2. Totally understood the linear progression of the story, and then every once in a while, especially during like RPG-a-thon, our little thing we do every year, Kiser tends to play either a Kingdom Hearts game sometimes, or that's also like just one of his like passions that he likes to play when it comes out. If it doesn't come out during like that part of the season, you'll find him playing it when it comes out, and it has confused the living hell out of me because there's like what 4 or 5 at like kind of mini episode games since then.
There's been plenty that have come out for the handhelds, and what happened on the PlayStation 3 is. They went ahead and released an HD makeover, basically, and they had Kingdom Hearts 1.5 HD something or another. I can't tell you the full title off the top of my head. And that started including some of these games that came out for the DS or the PlayStation Portable, that kind of thing. And it did well, so then they did 2.5, where they did an HD re-release of the Kingdom Hearts 2 and a couple of the other games that were out there. And now this one, 2.8, is basically now the final release of games before Kingdom Hearts 3, which has been sort of one of the holy grails of gamers who have been hoping, like, this is the... if you had a list of top 5 sequels most in demand, this is one of them, Kingdom Hearts 3. So... This includes 3, can't even call them all games, but basically you got the HD remake of Dream Drop Distance, which was a 3DS game that Kingdom Hearts had. And then it's got 2 other, one is a game, and it's Kingdom Hearts 0.2 Birth by Sleep, A Fragmentary Passage. Again, they don't like...
That's all one title.
That is one title. They do not like short titles. They're not afraid of giving a long title. And then the third part is Kingdom Hearts Key back cover, which is sort of like a little movie. It's about 80 minutes long or so. Movie that's on there as well, and they kind of take place at different periods of time throughout the Kingdom Hearts timeline. So to just kind of briefly go over the timeline, let's just say this: the movie takes place many, many years ago. It is almost one of the first things that has ever happened in the story of Kingdom Hearts. Meanwhile, Dream Drop Distance takes place almost right up before Kingdom Hearts 3. And then this Birth by Sleep, the 0.2, is basically the prequel. Is it epilogue that starts a prologue? What starts a book or a story?
Prologue?
Prologue.
This is basically the prologue to Kingdom Hearts 3. And, just kind of
if it's 0.8, wouldn't it be the prologue of 1 if it's called 0.8? Is it before 1?
No, this one is 0.2, but it's Kingdom Hearts 0.2 Birth by Sleep. And the 0.2 has nothing to do with anything other than I think there was a quote said in one of them about 0 point or something like that. So they're saying that this is the 2 of the 0 point that is mentioned somewhere. I read it.
So wait a minute. I got a little confused here. So this game is made up of 3 other games.
Correct. So it's basically it's a HD re-release. The first game is
of 3. Okay.
There's one main game, and that's the one I'll kind of be reviewing, and that's the Dream Drop Distance, which is the HD remake of a 3DS game. Then is that the one that was basically the beginning of all this or whatever? No. This is one this is the last full game that takes place before Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh, okay. In order.
I know one of the games you were mentioning took place many, many years before 1.
That would be the Kingdom Hearts Key back cover, which is just the movie, and it's characters that you've never seen before unless you've played the mobile game. And it takes place 1,000 years before everything else that takes place, more or less. So it is just a movie. It takes place way back when. The second game is the 0.2 Birth by Sleep Fragmentary Passage, which is a prologue to Kingdom Hearts 3. And playing that, we'll briefly talk about that one, and then I'll talk about the full game. If you go to this prologue game, this is basically, I felt like I think I beat the game in about 2 hours and 45 minutes. It was, if nothing else, a demo for Kingdom Hearts 3.
Would you have considered it applicable for RPG-a-thon to break the record?
No, not at all. This literally, It was an unfinished game. You can tell it. The story is very weak. I mean, it's very introductory. You're in one world. There's a couple different zones, if you want to call that, of that world. You have 3 or 4 boss fights. Basically, what they're doing is showing you the combat mechanic, I think, that they're going to utilize in Kingdom Hearts 3. That said, the combat is very fluid. It feels like a Kingdom Hearts game, a main story Kingdom Hearts combat, I should say, because some of the one-offs do a different combat system, different to a degree. This feels like the next generation of a Kingdom Hearts game, from a combat standpoint. Visually, it looks great. The only thing I would say is I thought some of the cutscenes, the characters looked very unfinished as far as costume-wise and things like that. Some of them, Donald, for instance, Donald Duck looked fantastic, but I thought some of the more humanoid characters looked a little unfinished. Very short, but if you are a Kingdom Hearts fan and you can't wait for Kingdom Hearts 3 because they don't have a release date and it could be another year or 2 before we ever see it, this would kind of be your appetizer for it. But let's just move into Dream Drop Distance, because that's really the game that's on here. And I personally have never played the 3DS version, so I can't really comment on how different it is. From things I read online, it seems like it's very similar to the 3DS version, just an HD remake of it. That said, it's a fun game. You're basically the 2 main characters. You're Sora and Riku from the traditional storylines. You're not fighting alongside of other characters like you did previously. You're basically your character, and then you have these pets, for lack of a better word, that they have different names for in the game. And these pets they fight alongside with you. And funny story about those pets, actually. I never really, they show you at the beginning of the game, here's how you can make a pet, and then you get recipes throughout the game to create other pets. I never bothered with it because the pet seemed pointless to me. He wasn't doing anything. I just let him be. I made it all the way through. There's a boss, and then there's like the final boss. And the final boss is kind of a joke. So the boss before him is basically the hardest boss in the game. I struggled with this guy up and down, up and down. I'm like, I cannot. He has 3 phases. I get him to like middle of phase 2, and I just couldn't do enough damage. And I'm like, what is going on? So I start looking online, and I see these YouTube videos where this guy is like fighting he has 2 pets with him. And I'm like, oh, there is a way if you go to these portals where you can summon 2 pets like for 30 seconds or something. And I'm like, maybe I got to find one of those portals. So I looked around for the portals. I couldn't find one. So I start going through my menu. Turns out I can have a party full of these pets. And so I added a second pet. And then I looked and I found out they have talent trees, which I knew. I guess I remember them showing me at the very beginning tutorial I never bothered with. Yeah, these talent trees, I increased their strength, magic. I had like 1,000, talent points to spend for each of them. I gave them all these spells. I went in there and killed that boss in like 2 minutes. It was a joke.
So you played the whole game without using these pets?
Yeah, basically I played the game on hard mode, in a manner of speaking. I soloed it instead of like using these party members that I should have had. So for any of you who are out there who want to use it, take a look at the pets and read the tutorial a little bit closer.
Use your pets. So sorry, real quick.
Yeah,
quick.
Please.
Going back to the timeline, real quick. When does this one take place compared to the other 2 that were on the game?
These ones basically, this one is the last full game before Kingdom Hearts 3, according to the timeline. So really,
would it be this game and then that little prologue?
Little prologue, and then Kingdom Hearts,
and then 3 when it comes out.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Now that said, what I liked about this game, I thought the combat was pretty fun. It follows the whole deck style combat of some other games, where basically you have a limited. You may have 7 deck slots, and each deck slot is you can put items in one deck slot. You can put when I say items, like a particular, like a potion here. Then you can put a spell in another deck slot, and every time you use one of those, it has like a cooldown before you can use it again. So you don't have magic points to spend in this game. You have literally deck slots. So every time I cast Cure, I have to wait 15, 30 seconds before I can use it again. So it's got that combat style to it. Other than that, it's still that hack and slash sort of Kingdom Hearts style to the fight. Boss fights, for the most part, were entertaining. A couple of them were towards the end. They got more intense, more of that. You really got to know how to use your guarding and dodge rolling kind of tactics, which I liked. The worlds are okay. The Tron world, they love using Tron in this, I think, because of the futuristic end of it, and they have those laser bikes, which is really fun. So that was probably my favorite world. Some of the other worlds, though, were kind of like meh. They had like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Didn't really care about that one. They had the Three Musketeers, which was like the Donald, Goofy, Mickey, older cartoon kind of thing. That one was kind of lame to me.
So to make sure, before you go any further, so Goofy and Donald do not escort you in any of these games?
No, they don't. They're in some cutscenes here and there, as is Mickey, but it is literally you are Riku and you are Sora, and that's it. And then you got the pets. And these pets are basically another version of the Heartless, or in this game they're called Spirits Dream Eaters, and then you're fighting nightmares instead of Heartless. It's like bad Dream Eaters. So no, it's basically a solo style game, and it makes sense because this game came from a 3DS, so you can't have too many, characters and things going on the screen at once.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah.
So it's the levels are a little bit smaller, which you expect from this. Again, you're taking a handheld game and blowing it up onto a big screen, but they're not changing much. They're just basically doing an HD, remake of it. So the levels overall were okay. Some of them were fun, some were kind of lame. You don't see a whole lot of Disney characters in this one. It really seems as the Kingdom Hearts series goes on, they stray further and further from the Disney end of it, and they just really have their own Kingdom Hearts lore that they're trying to focus on. And then they kind of throw Mickey and stuff in there just to be like, hey, it is still a Disney game.
Crap. I had a question, and then we kept on going. The Windows. Okay, first of all, Windows 3 come out, and it's basically this game you just got 2.8. Was it like a full retail game? It seems like there's not really much to it. Like, did you actually spend full retail price on this game?
I believe it's like a $40 game, maybe $45, somewhere in that range. It was actually a Christmas gift for me, so that I didn't get till it came out in January. But I don't know how to say. It might be. It's between $40 and $50. You do get the Dream drop distance game. It probably takes you 15 to 20 hours to beat the game, so you get a decent amount of play out of it. And then the other two, you got that basically full length movie. And the demo for Kingdom Hearts 3 is what I'm calling it. So, yeah, I think for Kingdom Hearts fans, it's worth the money. If you're just kind of curious about the series, I wouldn't start on this one. But it's also, if you want to wait till it drops in price a little bit, I don't have an issue with that. The one feature I would say I really was irritating is basically they're dreaming the whole time. Is what the concept of this game is. And there'll be moments you kind of switch campaigns from one side, from Riku's story to Sora's story, and they're in same worlds, but they're in different like phases of the world, for lack of a better word. And there's a dream meter, and when the dream meter runs out, your character falls asleep, and you switch over to the other character. And that's fine and all, except for the fact that it's pointless. There's no, like, you can literally, like, if Riku fell asleep and I became Sora, I could instantly make Sora fall asleep and go right back to Riku and continue off where I was going. The only thing that you lose is when you switch over from one to the other, you can spend points to, like if Sora falls asleep, I've earned so many dream points that I can spend for Riku, and Riku's attack can be raised during this next period he's awake, and his, like, that kind of thing. Defense can be raised, whatever. And there's also little items in the game, which I didn't really ever pay attention to because it was never a big deal.
It seems like you didn't pay attention to a lot of things in this game.
Well, it was things that they were never, the tutorial at the beginning was like not that detailed, and I just didn't I didn't care enough to look it up because when they fell asleep, I just would like wake the other guy, and I'm like, just go back to sleep, and I'm going to keep playing with the other dude. But they had items that apparently would stop the dream meter from... It would like delay how long it is before the meter runs out. And it never made sense to me. Like, what's the point of falling asleep when you can just literally go right back to that character?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
There's a couple storyline centric parts where like you literally could not, if you beat like 3 worlds with one character, you couldn't go to that 4th world until the other guy beat 3 worlds. Which is fine. Like, then it makes sense to just force him into this sleep till the other guy catches up. But other than that, like, it was so pointless. And what irritated me is one time I was in one of the later boss fights. My character fell asleep in the middle of the boss fight. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll just, I'll come back to him. When I came back to him, the boss fight started over. It was like the first time I had made the guy into like phase 3 of that fight. And it all got reset. So I was kind of irritated about that. Apparently, you could eat an item that like stopped that from happening. I always thought all the items in the game that weren't like just potions and stuff were like materials to create your pets. So I never bothered with them. Turns out there were some that did that. So that just, it seemed like a pointless feature to have in there. A little irritating. It wasn't the end of the world, but. That said, those are probably that's probably my biggest gripe. That, like I said, some of the worlds were just kind of like meh. Not a ton of crazy, like, oh, I really wanted to see this Disney World character or something like that in the game. There wasn't a lot of those worth seeing. But the game overall was fun.
Did it get you pumped for 3 at very least, or did it really not do much for you as far as like?
So definitely the little prologue is the one that gets you pumped for 3. I mean, you could really see where they're going with the combat and the story. They're going to have it looks like it's going to be a huge game. It looks like they're going to be running 3 or 4 storylines at the same time with different characters. I have a feeling you're going to be running with one character storyline, another character storyline, another character storyline. They're all going to eventually merge together. But it really, for a 2-hour game, 2 or 3 hour game, it really gives you a good like tease. Like, I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
So how does 2.7 or 2.8 rank with 1 and 2? Is your least favorite?
Yeah. I mean, 1 and 2 are full games. This is a full handheld game, so it's a shorter game in general. And the other ones are they're teasers and they're movies. So 2.5, 1.5 are definitely I would prefer over this one, but I'm not disappointed to own this one. The ratings, I was looking at like what the reception was overall. IGN gave it a 7.5, GameSpot gave it a 7 out of 10, Destructoid gave it a 7.5 out of 10. The Metacritic overall rating is 77 out of 100. That seems pretty on. I would probably give it a 7 out of 10 myself. So I'm kind of right in there. Maybe I'm a little bit lower than some of these guys, but
you think you would give it more as a handheld game?
Oh, yeah. I'm sure I would. But I don't think that's maybe that's part of it. Maybe it felt a little short, but I understand why that's the case. The movie was just like, I kind of watched the movie and I'm like, I had no idea what was going on. I actually downloaded the mobile game now that I'll probably start playing to kind of answer some of those questions, because I didn't realize there was a mobile game that had a separate characters. I thought at this point I had seen all of the characters and the story. Apparently I was wrong on that. So the movie was really a head scratcher for somebody who has no idea about anything going on with that timeline there.
So basically what we're telling all the viewers is to pay more attention than you did to
Well, I mean, for what it's worth, the movie, if you've never played the mobile game, I've played every other iteration of Kingdom Hearts, and I knew none of that. I knew a name and I saw like one character, but everybody else was like new to me, had no idea what was going on there. So that's one you may want to play the mobile game before you watch the movie. But as far as the other two, yeah, it makes there definitely makes sense. It ties some things together. And if you want to see how Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to be, I definitely recommend it then, because it's basically that 0.2 Birth by Sleep is definitely a Kingdom Hearts 3 demo for sure.
So from my perspective, I played 1 and 2. Am I okay to go right to 2.8 and I'd be fine? Or do I need to do, is there anything else I probably should?
I would, so if the problem with, if you've only played 1 and 2, you really haven't seen any of the characters. You could play, I take that back, you could play Dream Drop Distance. So you could play the main game on here. As far as Birth by Sleep, though, you wouldn't know who that character is or any of that storyline. So in March, they're releasing a HD remake, re-release of Kingdom Hearts 1.5 and 2.5 for the PS4. They're grouping it all together. It's the PS4 version of that. If you haven't played the PS3 HD re-releases, I would recommend picking that one up and playing through it, because that'll give you the other end of the stories of the Terra, Ventus, Aqua character storyline that you probably have no idea about, Kyle. And I definitely recommend that before you play Birth by Sleep, the Kingdom Hearts prologue, if you will. And it would get you ready for Kingdom Hearts 3, which, to be honest, I think I would be shocked if it gets released this year. I think it's a 2018 release myself.
I thought they were already hinting that it was December 2017.
I haven't heard
That was the last thing I read about it, because they were just also releasing some of the Sora figurines and stuff like that. And I think we're supposed to expect more of a for sure release date, hopefully maybe by either the end of this month or the end of next month.
I would expect maybe seeing something at E3 myself, but I don't know if I'll see it, if we'll hear much before then. I think that's why they're kind of they're releasing all this HD remake stuff, is to sort of keep Kingdom Hearts in your mind, but try to like sidetrack you for a while.
Yeah, so I could see if they were releasing that in 2017. Maybe they wouldn't waste their time with HD remakes.
Yeah, I don't, so we'll see. Yeah, the way how long it's taken, I don't expect it to come out anytime soon. But I will say, seeing that prologue and kind of getting the feel that that's what they're going to be doing, it could be more finished than I thought. So, who knows? Maybe they're still trying to figure out the story and how they want to do it, because the story can be very confusing for people.
I think just the titles are confusing. When I hear 0.2, I think of, okay, that's before 1. So I think that's like a prequel.
Right, but it's 0.2 Birth by Sleep. So it's not just Kingdom Hearts 0.2. See what I'm saying?
Right. I guess. Yeah,
right,
I guess.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, right, guys. Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, any final questions that you guys would have for me? Neither of you Haddix, you have almost no familiarity with the Kingdom Hearts series.
Yeah.
Hougie, you have a little bit of familiarity with the series, but, not with this particular expansion or iteration. Are there any last questions that you guys would like to know, or you thought maybe somebody, a listener of ours might be interested in knowing?
I think the biggest one was order. So if, 1, 2, basically what you were telling Hougie earlier, or us earlier, 1, 2, 2, 8, 3. But if you want to know the characters for the prequel, you want to play the mobile game first.
The mobile, no. So the mobile game is like, those characters I've not seen in anything else other than this movie that they released. So I would play Birth by Sleep, for sure, to understand that these other characters that are in that they're going to be in Kingdom Hearts 3. So I think Birth by Sleep is definitely a must play. So if you have a PS4 and you haven't played any of the old ones, hold out until next month and get the HD remake of 1.5 and 2.5, and you'll have all the Kingdom Hearts that you can handle. Right. But that's what be my recommendation is play that, so you can get the Terra Ventus Aqua's storyline that I think you're definitely going to need to know for the next one, because if that prologue is any indication, Aqua's going to be a major player in it.
Is Mushu still a summon?
They haven't had summons in quite some time, so
I was hoping they would bring back that that game changing part of 1 that everybody used clearly, or the fact that they let you can choose between having Donald and Goofy, or each level has a Disney character that you can just throw in there that I feel like no one ever picked.
Yeah, for the most part, I think I never did. Every once in a while there was one worth playing, but that's one thing that they haven't done in quite some time, is having the Disney characters in your party. But again, we haven't seen a major Kingdom Hearts game since Kingdom Hearts 2. So, that could definitely be part of the next one. And for what it's worth, one of the cool features that was in Kingdom Hearts 3, Mickey ends up joining you, and he's kind of fighting alongside of you.
You mean 2? Because 3's not out yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. When I said 3, I meant this prologue.
Okay.
Mickey fights alongside of you, and basically there's a certain point where if you build up a meter, you can release this ability where you and Mickey tag team, and then you have special abilities you do together. So I could definitely see, if nothing else, Mickey being a much bigger player in this game as well, as opposed to just almost a cinematic and shows up for a scene here and there kind of guy that he has been in the past.
For those who aren't aware of kind of what this game is, I'm sure people who are looking this up, probably know what Kingdom Hearts is, but it's kind of a marriage between Square Enix and their universe, and then Disney. So there's a lot of like Final Fantasy characters in it, and then obviously a bunch of the Disney ones. One thing I always thought of when I ever see Mickey is he reminds me of Yoda, like because he's like this little tiny guy, but he's like
right, yep,
exceptionally powerful, and he just like the videos I've seen where he is actually fighting, he just looks insane. He's doing a bunch of flips and
yeah, he's definitely a very strong character in this. And I think he's gonna be more of a fighting character in the next game, and I am really excited to see where Kingdom Hearts 3 goes. Now that Disney owns, they have the Marvel universe and they have
true.
Star Wars. I'm very curious to see if they get integrated at all into Kingdom Hearts. I know there's been some talk that they won't. But they always have keyblades, which is the weapon that the characters use. They're key-shaped swords, and every world that he finishes, he gets a keyblade based on that world. And I would love to see a lightsaber version keyblade. So that's my. If I had one thing to hope for in Kingdom Hearts 3, it's that. I'm not going to say I'm going to get it or not, but I would love to see it. But if you guys have any other questions, we can kind of wrap this short up here.
No, I think that does it for me.
I'm tapped out.
All right. Well,
I do need to play. I have 2.8 on my PS4. I do need to play it.
Yes, you should. But like I said, you might want to hold off and wait for the other Kingdom Hearts HD release next month. Play it through first, and then hop to 2.8. And then hopefully we'll have a Kingdom Hearts 3 before the end of the calendar year. That's going to be the show for this week, though. Let us know, PNPers, if you guys have played the 2.8, what your thoughts are, what you're looking forward to in Kingdom Hearts 3, as far as, any other games that you might want us to review in future shorts. And don't forget, join us next week for a full 90-minute podcast where we will be discussing the Civil War II comic book release. Should be a good one there. From the Great Lakes to the Golden Gate, I'm Josh Kiser, he's Josh Haddix, and he's Kyle Hoagland, and we will see you guys next time.
Have a good Friday.
Happy birthday, Kiser, by the way. See ya.
Oh, thank you. Yep. And pseudonerdpod.com for all of our social media handles.